The Bunch X Nasty is the best offense in all of Madden 26, and I'm going to be breaking it down out of the New York Jets offensive playbook. The New York Jets offensive playbook features not only a really good Bunch X Nasty, but it has a great bunch tight end, it has a great tight open, and it has a phenomenal trip set and offset, doubles flex close, a lot of good money formations that way. And then it has some of the best red zone formations in the game. It has this wing slot weak. It has this split close. It has a slot with great quarterback runs, good route combos that you can use. So it's got a great red zone, but ultimately it's all about this Bunch X Nasty. So what you want to do in this offense, first and foremost, coach adjustments. You want to make sure that your auto pass protection is set to empty or base. It is really important to have it on empty or base. You do not want auto pass protection off. You want this on either base or empty. In my opinion, empty is my preferred way to start. Base can block some blitzes that empty can't block, and empty can block some blitzes that base can't block. But I think empty does a better job overall against the majority of ways that people like to play defense. So I like to go empty. As far as my formation itself, Bunch X Nasty, what you want to do is at the bottom, you see here that I have the tight end slot package equipped. This is going to do a really good job against any kind of cover zero. It's going to provide you misalignments and man coverage to help your slot receiver get better separation. So it just helps you when playing man coverage or cover zero blitzes. So we have the tight end slot package. What you need to make sure that you do is when you come out in your offense, you need to make sure that you have subbed in receivers back into the game. So I go through and I put my best ISO receiver here on the left side. I put a really good all-around receiver in the slot. And then I put, kind of my quote-unquote worst receiver here on the right side of the formation in this example. And then as far as the audibles that I recommend in Bunch X Nasty, I feel like in Bunch X Nasty, because it definitely should be, at least in my opinion, the base formation, because it's such a deep formation this year. There's so many good plays in it. I would make this your number one formation, and then I would audible to other stuff. And so because of that, the audibles are a little bit more situational. So what I like to have is I like to have my best kind of situational money plays in here. So one of them is going to 100% be this motion RPO zone alert. This is a really fantastic RPO play. It has the cheat motion built into it. You can also cancel the cheat motion. It's just a really, really good all-around play. So I want to have that in my audibles. Another play that I think you definitely want to have in your audibles here is spacing switch, because it's one of the most effective situational plays that you can have. It is just a money play through and through. Another audible that I think is a must-have in this formation is this Y flat goal line. The reason that this is a good audible is because when you run this play, your icons are actually going to change. And so you want to kind of audible to this play and set it up quick and snap it so that there's not a clear, obvious tell that you are running. It's going to help kind of disguise the play a little bit. And then the last audible is really up to you, whichever one that you want. The reason that I ended up choosing the motion cross post is really just because I think it's the best all-around play in the formation. And so this gives me the flexibility to really come out in whatever I want, but always be able to access kind of my core money plays in this formation. Now, as far as how to actually run the offense, we'll just come out in whatever play that we want here. In this case, motion HB choice. And what you want to do is you want to actually come out in the formation with your bunch to the short side of the field for the most part. The reason being is because this allows you to then audible into bunch tight end. You can run the glitchy RPO out of bunch tight end here and attack the defense this way. So as you see here, like when we audible into another formation, it puts them in the proper alignment. The same thing is true for trips. So as you see here, when I audible into trips, it's going to put me in the proper alignment. Whenever you run trips, you want that trips to the wide side of the field. And also by being able to audible to these bubble screens, it allows us to hot route them, which is huge. It's a big, big feature this year. And then if you want to stay in your Bunch X Nasty, what I would suggest is just audibling to whatever play you want to run. So let's say I want to run, let's just say in this case, I want to run Y flat goal line. Then I'm going to audible, and I'm just going to flip it just like this, and then I can get a lot faster hot routes in game. So anyway, this is just my way of running the offense. You don't have to do all this. You could just basically run your bunch to the short side or wide side. Generally speaking, for all of the plays that we're going to be breaking down, we're going to be running this offense to the wide side. It's definitely the best way to run the offense. When you run this offense to the wide side, it's just going to give you the best spacing possible to be able to attack the defenses as much as you possibly can. So you want to be flipping, in my opinion, into a wide side type of alignment. I just think it's much, much better that way. And it's going to make it harder for the defense to be able to adjust. The other thing about this is, let's say you want to audible into, tight open or doubles flex. Because tight open, as you see right here, it puts the running back on the short side. In my opinion, you want the running back on the wide side. So what I would do is I would actually flip my bunch, which they're going to start setting up their bunch adjustments. So if I flip my bunch, just like this, flip it. Then if I know I want to audible to tight or doubles, then I can just do a second audible, because you get 2 audibles at the line of scrimmage. So now I'm in my doubles, and now I'm in a favorable alignment to run all of these plays from here. So anyways, in general, those are my biggest and best suggestions for running this offense. If you want to learn my entire offense on this formation, if you want to learn my entire Jets offense, get all of my ebooks, get better at Madden in general or college football, join our school community today. It's only $10, and it's going to get you access to every single thing that I know about Madden and college football, all in one website, where you're going to be able to get full ebooks, get your questions answered, a full community of support. So if you're looking to take your game to the next level, join our school community today. I'm going to put that link in the top of the description below. For this setup of the play spacing switch out of the bunch X nasty formation, we're going to be running kind of a smash return style of setup, but we're going to be using a tight end slant. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to take the R1 receiver, we're going to put him on a streak. We're going to put the ISO receiver on an in route, and we're going to stem him up at least 2 to 3 times. So you want him to go a little bit deeper of an in route. You're going to slant the tight end, and then you're going to return route your outside bunch receiver. So this is what it looks like. As far as the read progression on this play, we're going to be looking at the running back first, then we're going to get to the slant, and then we're going to look at that streak and in route, and then we're going to look at that return route. So always looking out here to the left side. If they're not playing hard flats, we want to be able to just take what the defense gives us consistently, and if they are consistently giving us, that right there, we want to obviously take that. Now, another popular coverage, right, cover 2 or something, cover 2 cloud flat. What makes this such a good play is that the spacing switch flat route is a legitimate threat to go for 10 to 15 yards if they are not playing hard flat coverage. Also, if they're playing any kind of like man-to-man, this spacing switch route can actually do a good job of beating man coverage. When he cuts the sideline, sometimes he'll get a nice rat catch animation that will allow him to get more separation than that. And then also, like if it's ever a blitz, the spacing switch flat route is really, really good, because as you see here, right, you get that cut, and then there's that nice rat catch animation where the man coverage is not able to stay with him. So it's a great route because they have to basically hard flat. And because they have to hard flat, that's why we put this tight end slant here. So we put the tight end slant here because they are going to have to hard flat. So here's cover 4 hard flat. You'll see they play it pretty good. But late in the play, the tight end gets open on the slant. So that's what the whole kind of like layout of this concept is if they don't hard flat, then we can hit the table route. If they do hard flat, then we can hit the tight end. So whether it's cover 3 hard flat or cover 4 hard flat, you're going to basically see the same result here. And what's nice about having this deep in route is this deep in route will run the deep zones back a little bit, kind of creating that nice separation. So as you see there, you get that little window to hit it. Now, the one thing you have to worry about a little bit, depending on the defense you're playing, is you can get some bumping that occurs. So biggest thing with that is just be patient with the play. But a lot of times, eventually, once he kind of gets across the field, he's going to get in a nice pocket right there. Okay. So those are kind of the 2 main reads. And typically, that's all you'll really need on this play. However, if they switch stick to that side, or if they get hyper aggressive with their coverage adjustments or whatever, then we're going to get to the backside. So generally speaking, if they were to just put a hard flat, then your first progression kind of backside here is going to be that return route. As you see, that return route gets in that nice little pocket. And if they are shading their yellows down, then your deep in route is going to be available over the top. So let's show you that. So slant or flat route, slant route, no. In route, yes. Over the top of the yellow zones, gets in a nice little spot. difficult to switch stick that because you do have a clear out streak over the top of it. So it's a very specific way they would have to switch stick that. And this play just breaks down literally every coverage in the game. Another reason why I love this play is, let's say you're going up against someone that likes cover 0 and they'll do like 2 hard flats. If they were to do something like that against this play, you're going to see that slant gets opened because, again, that running back table route, he's going to pull out the hard flat defender every single time. And then if they run around like a cloud or anything like that, then your running back table route, as you'll see here, just pass you that to the left. You see how that's able to really just kind of give them a lot of stuff they have to worry about on that left-hand side of the field. And then you have this nice high-low on the backside of the play. So you should have answers against literally every coverage in the game with this. And then if it's like match coverage or anything like that, your tight end slant will be open. And then if you're getting like really aggressive, cover 2 man, but they're flatting or whatever, then you also always have that backside in route as a great opportunity to be able to attack man cover. So it's really difficult to defend everything you could do on this play. It's why it's such a good play. And this play should be a big part of your offense because it just gets open against everything. It's very difficult for the defense to be able to really stop it. Another really underrated aspect of the play is when they do shade down this return route. It's kind of neat. You'll see right here, there's this little pocket right before he gets to the yellows to be able to hit him. And then there's another window as well. So you can hit him in that window right before he gets to the yellow zones. And then the other window that you can hit him in is right over the middle. You'll see patient on the play. See how that slant kind of opens up that pocket. And then there's that little spot right there. So just 2 other little windows that you can hit this play on that I think are just relevant. And then the other thing is, if they don't shade their yellows down, if you wait long enough on this play, your in route will split those hook curls, as you see right there. So just a lot of windows on this play. It attacks a lot of the field. It's why it's such a good play. It's why a play that you should be running a lot in this offense. For this setup of the play spacing switch out of the bunch X nasty formation, what we're going to be using this play for is we're going to kind of flood the left sideline and be able to attack kind of it with a cross field passing concept. So the way that I like to set this play up is we're going to put the ISO receiver on a slot fade. We're going to drag the tight end. We're going to put the slot receiver here on a post. And I like to stem that post route down 1 time so it runs a little sharper. And then we're going to return route our outside bunch receiver. Now the read progression on this play is we're typically going to look to that table route and drag route first. They're very quick hitting routes and you can hit them in really nice windows. And then we're going to progress to the slot fade and the post route, and then we're going to have that return route as kind of our late read in the play. So always looking out here to the left side. If they're not going to play hard flats, we're going to take this quick throw. It's the best quick throw in the game, and it's something that you want to make them respect. Now, what they might do, kind of depending on how they're playing, is they might only play a hard flat. So they might just put this linebacker here in a hard flat. And what makes this spacing switch route such a good route is because it's also a really good pull route. So you'll see he's going to pull kind of that flat defender, and then you can throw that drag right underneath just like that if they don't play those underneath hook curls in the middle of the field. And also, this is going to be the user, right? So if the user kind of goes high here and he goes back to the post, even if they play like 5-yard hooks on the right side, sometimes this is, practically speaking, just going to be open because, again, a lot of people are going to send 4 at you, maybe only have 1 yellow zone, and this just gets in this little pocket right there that you want to hit. It's such a good route to hit in that little window. They're going to have very specific adjustments to be able to defend this. So, typically what you'll get is you'll get some kind of variation of a cover 3 cloud type of look here where, now we have a little bit more ability to put a hook here, and then have a little over the middle field defender. So if you were to get something like that and they play down on the tight end route, then what you want to do is you just want to progress upfield to your post. So your post and slot fade. So you see here, pretty good defense, but that post route, because that slot fade is going to do a really good job of clearing out really any kind of cover 4 or cover 3, this slot fade will clear out well. So it's just a great play because of the fact that they can't really play, cover 4, cover 3 on you and have a lot of success. It's going to be a difficult switch stick for them to make. and that route just gets across the field into a nice little pocket, into a nice little window. So the really only thing they can really do is they could switch stick you, of course, but also, typically they'll just use her the post in some way, shape, or form. And so really, regardless of how they get there, then typically your little return route is going to be wide open underneath of the field for an easy check down, or they might switch stick onto a safety, get really aggressive. And if they do something like that and they have the shaded down hooks, if you're patient with this play, you can playmaker this guy upfield. I don't know why my playmaker did not register. Try one more time. But you can playmaker this return route late in the play if you need to. Normally you won't, though. I mean, normally you'll have too many answers here. But if they play just perfect coverage here, we'll see if we can actually playmaker. There we go. Playmaker him upfield. And you see you can get him up over the top of the yellow zone. So it's a very difficult play to defend because you have a lot of answers with this play. Another thing that I think makes this a really, really good play is, let's say you get any kind of pressure or anything like that. Again, you have the running back little spacing route, table route. That's going to be a good answer for that. But you also have the tight end drag. And that tight end drag is going to do a really good job of getting open quick against man coverage, man pressure. You're going to have a nice answer to any kind of pressure they might throw at you. And then the other thing is you're going to have your post route. So if they try to user the drag route underneath, then you're going to have your post route really good for any kind of blitz. But also, you see, look how fast that post route cuts. Look how good it does at whipping the man coverage defender. It's the main reason you want to use a post to stem it down one, because you're going to get a little better separation against man coverage. Now, if you were to get press man, something like this, spacing switch is so good because, again, the running back route is what makes this play. It's the reason you run this play, because the running back is such a good threat here. But you see here, you can get man coverage, you get that pick because of that slot fade, and you can get that quick throw to the sideline against man coverage. And then also, you're going to be able to get your tight end, especially any kind of like cover on robber or two-man under, anything like that. The drag routes are really good against those types of man coverages. And then the post route's also very good, as you see. Because we have something that's kind of clearing the space out, that post route's going to do a really, really good job of being able to get man-to-man separation. For this setup of spacing switch, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using a kind of horizontal attacking route combination and going to try to basically attack the little pockets on the field in short yardage scenarios. This is not something that you would call all but the way down the field, though you could, but it is primarily a horizontal, short yardage, quick passing concept. So what we're going to do as far as how we're going to set up the play is we're going to put the tight end on a tight end apprentice crosser. We're going to return route the ISO and the slot receiver. So both of these guys are going to be on these return routes. These return routes get in these nice windows against defenses this year. So as far as how we're going to actually read the play, we're going to always look at that table route. We're going to look kind of both flats first, and then both return routes, and then that crosser if both return routes are covered. So always looking at these flats, we want to make them have to play hard flats. So if they're not going to play hard flats, we are going to throw these flats over and over and over again, okay? Same thing over here. You're going to see there's that return route. It's open in that little pocket right there. And then what we're basically trying to accomplish here is we're trying to get this tight end crosser to give enough of a user, kind of hold the user long enough on either side here where we can hit this pocket. As you see on the left side, that table route is going to do a really good job of pulling any kind of hard flat to him. And then that tight end crosser is going to pull the hook curl to him, opening up this little window here for the return route. You see right there, easy read. And that is just a money route that you have. Now, as far as the right-hand side, because you are on the wide, you got your bunch of the field here, I find that this return route typically is not going to get open if they do have a hook. Like there's a window, but you see it kind of closes quick, and then the defender can kind of snap on the ball. So that one is not as good, I would say, as the left side return route. But if they don't have a hook there, then it 100% is. And so what can literally happen is they could do like some man-ups in short yardage situations or things like that where they take the hook out of the field, and then you have this little window right here. So the tight end route is kind of a route that is designed to hold the user. So same kind of thing here is, let's say I'm the user and I see this play. I'm going to, typically go to the tight end. And so when I go to the tight end, what that does is that opens up the short passing lane here because the tight end kind of runs right into the user's space. So he's kind of a defender that can take that. Okay. Now, the other element of this is, let's just say they don't really use her. They switch stick to the right side or the left side to try to lurk. Well, that's where you want to be able to throw that tight end kind of in this little pocket right here. Another variation of this same thing would be to take this slot receiver and put him on a simple little, even just a basic post, and having the return route right here like this. This could also be an option. You kind of get the same basic thing, right? You kind of get the same basic thing in terms of we're attacking kind of these quick intermediate areas. And, you can do that as well, okay? But what the other element of this is any kind of man-to-man. So if you do get any kind of man coverage here, this is where this tight end route is going to shine. This tight end route is really good against man. And so what you'll see is he'll cross, and that'll be a nice way to just kind of attack man coverage in the middle of the field late in the play. Obviously, you have your running back routes that you have, so that's a really good route against man as well. That route, they have to hard flat to defend that. If they don't hard flat on the running back side, you can throw the running back route against man really easily, and then that hard flat normally will leave that tight end open. See if we can get a little bit better separation here. And that's why also, like, kind of an optional setup would be to run this slot receiver on a post, just because this slot receiver on a post can do a really good job of getting man-to-man separation. As you see right there, he just fries any kind of man coverage. So it gives you a little bit more of a threat against man coverage. Normally the tight end crosser will get, though, will be able to get open against man coverage. We'll set this up one more time here to show it against man. And then also your return routes underneath are going to be there as well. But you see that tight end. And so what that tight end does is not only is he going to get open against man, but if you think about how they're going to realistically user the play, the user is going to run to the tight end side because that's who's open, right? So because the user has to put so much energy into defending the tight end, then you have you're both quick flats, which can both be good, or just one of your return routes over the middle normally will do a pretty decent job of being able to get separation against man coverage. This play, all in all, has a lot of answers for a lot of different coverages. If it's just basic two-man under, your running back is going to be money against any kind of man coverage. You'll see here that little cut normally is going to get a nice rack catch animation, and you'll normally be able to get a little bit better yardage than that. And we'll show it one more time here. So you see, there's that pick, there's that rack, and as you see, able to attack man coverage very well. For this setup of spacing switch, the kind of purpose of the play is to create a high-low read on the left side. There's a couple of ways in which we are going to be able to do that with this setup. So what we're going to do is we're going to corner route our solo wide receiver here, and we're going to stem him down one. We're going to post route our tight end. We're going to curl route our slot receiver, and we're going to stem him up one time. And then underneath of this, we're going to have a little return route on the back side. So what this does practically is this attacks hard flats. So if they're hard flatting you a lot, it really just high-lows the left side. So the read progression, we're always going to work this little two-man game on the left side, and then we're going to come backside and work the high-low in the middle of the field. The post route is really more of a man coverage route. I would say it's not amazing against zone. There is some windows that I will go over, but generally speaking, when you're playing zone or you're wanting to work the high-lows on both sides. So anyways, what you're going to see here is obviously if they play hard flats, this corner route is actually really good when you stem it down one. Just like that right there. As you see, it gets in this nice little pocket that is difficult to guard. It's a very difficult route to defend. And then the main way you're going to be able to defend it is by playing cover two, right? Well, if they play cover two cloud, then that cloud goes super high with that corner. And then this gets open for, an easy, 10 to 15 yards underneath. The same thing is true if they play any kind of curl flat or cloud flat over there. So if they don't play a hard flat coverage, you see how they drift back super far. We get that nice rack catch animation on the flat, and now we're off to the races. Very, very good play. One of the most popular adjustments that a lot of people like to do when they're playing this formation is they might do some pressure, right? Do some pressure, something like this. And let's say their users right here, you would get an adjustment like this where they man up this guy and they run this little hard flat to try to defend this combination here.
So what makes this not necessarily an ideal defensive call is something like this. And the reason why this is so good is because the tight end will kill man coverage, the curl will kill man coverage, and then there's two people guarding the table route, but this guy gets isolated one-on-one, essentially. So what you're going to see here is normally outside pass lead, he's going to be able to get just enough separation there to be able to attack that man coverage. And then also, again, depending on how they're actually using it, assuming your tight end runs his route well, he will be a nice man coverage option as well. So you can see here when he cuts, I got screamed at. That's why you want to hit the corner route quick. But typically, let me just call up the dogs here. We'll do 2 yellows underneath. But typically what will happen is against man coverage, this tight end gives you a nice answer. And then the curl also gives you a great answer against man. Let's see here. For some reason, the tight end got bumped to the oblivion. Shout out to the chipping in this game. I'm just going to pinch the D-line so we can hopefully not get chipped. But basically here, what you'll see is the post against man coverage, inside separation, and he is going to be able to win, okay? The other element of this is a lot of people, and this is also good for zone too, but a lot of people, they're going to have this guy in the middle of the field. They probably have this hard flat over here or something, and then, as you start to kind of walk through what they can realistically do, they're probably going to use the post. And so if they use the post, this little curl is going to get into a nice area of the field against any kind of like either low yellow zone, as you see, just snaps off, possession catch, easy read against man. Or if, let's say, it's like a cover 4 or cover 2 where they're playing their hooks on 5, this will do a good job of attacking that because the return route holds those hooks down, and then that curl just kind of sits over the top of him like that. And then let's say they don't put their hooks on 5, then the throw would obviously go to the underneath here. So it would look something like this. And you have those deeper hook zones on the field now. And you see how all that gets cleared out because of the, traffic that we have on that left-hand side. So overall, I think this is a really good combination. It's a very simple combination of a simple high-low on the left and a middle of the field deal. If they do run like a cover 2 soft squat, a lot of times that soft squat will go to the corner route for whatever reason. I don't know why, because technically a soft squat should be matching the flat. But again, how do we counter that? It's a high-low read. We isolate that defender, and if that defender stays high, we throw low, and we're going to be able to just turn up field and get an easy 9 to 10 yards. The setup of the play spacing switch, we're going to run a simple high-low concept with good clear-out streaks to avoid switch stick. What we're going to be doing here is we are going to slot fade the ISO receiver. We're going to post the tight end. We're going to streak the slot receiver, and we're going to drag the outside bunch receiver. I like the drag a little better than the return route, and this is a nice job of kind of countering different types of setups that we'll do from this formation, because what people will look for is the slot receiver on a curl, but now he's going to be on a streak. So if they try to switch stick or curl, then you can hit it over the top, and I'll kind of give you an example. So let's just say, practically speaking, right, this guy essentially he's going to be switch sticked onto, so he plays like a hook curl. If that happens, if you ever see them do something like that, they make a mistake, this could be a touchdown over the top. So just wanted to highlight, that's kind of designed for switch stick. And then if they don't, if they run more of a basic coverage, right, we still have our table route. Our table route's super good. As you see here, it's going to get wide open to the sideline if they're not going to hard flat. And then also our drag route. So what I like to do on the play is I like to read, quick slot fade, quick, and then flat route, and then the drag. I like to get to this drag because the drag gets open in this little pocket right here. It's a really nice throwing lane to be able to have, and it's one of those routes you want to be able to hit. So anyway, and then I get basically up to the high point read here, which is going to be the post. So if they do hard flat, you're going to see it pretty obviously. See there, they hard flat. I want to throw that right in that little pocket to the tight end there. If you want to stem the tight end down, be my guest. I don't think you necessarily need to, but it can make this throw a little bit more open, especially against cover 4. So as you see here, just boom, right in that little pocket is what we're looking to hit. Also, if you want to put the tight end on a crosser, you can put the tight end on a crosser, it'd be fine. But the basic deal here is even if they don't hard flat, let's say they switch stick or whatever underneath, you see that this throw gets open over the top for a really nice play. So bottom line is here, it's a very simple high-low read that they're going to have to defend. And it's not the easiest thing in the world to defend, especially, let's say, for example, they're running a coverage like this. So if they're running like, a cover 3 kind of defense like that, this can do a good job against that. The reason it's going to do a good job against that is because the slot flag clears out the third. If they switch stick onto the middle third, then this seam streak here, it's a big play in the middle of the field. We can hit that quick. So we have the ability here to be able to attack a lot of what they want to do defensively against a cover 3 cloud. You're really weak to the backside. So you see here, they try to do these rollover coverages. Well, if they try to switch stick onto the middle guy, they can't really do that. So you see now this is so much more open against cover 3. Cover 4 probably defends it the best because you can switch stick onto the quarter, but cover 3, cover 2 going to really struggle to defend this. Main reason cover 2 is going to struggle to defend it is even if they did a rollover cover 2 like this, you would think this would be really good. The problem with this is you're not going to be able to defend the running back route. So it's just a free running back route over the middle here. So you see, easy throw, rat catch up, take what the defense gives you. This is also really good against man coverage. So if they want to play man coverage on you, you're going to have answers for that. So, you have your table route, which is just such a good route to have quick against man. So if they want to run man, you get the picks, you get the rubs, you get the nice rat catch. You've got to wear that rat out. Like, that is such a key route in the offense. You've got to make them have to defend it. And so the natural way that they will defend it is they will hard flat on this running back side. And then what that does is that kind of leaves them outflanked here on the backside. It's going to be hard to defend the other two routes when you're devoting a lot of resources to the running back route, especially in man. So you see here, this drag route, it gets nice separation. The running back clears out that flat, and then that drag route's going to get into a nice spot against man-to-man. And then the tight end here, take a look at what he can do for us against any kind of base man coverage call. Typically, once he cuts the inside, he's going to get open. If he doesn't, obviously, you can just scramble, which is a whole other thing. But generally speaking, the tight end normally will get open if he doesn't get bumped, if he doesn't get chipped like that. And then we'll show it a little bit more here. Cover 0, you're going to have everything. But most notably here, a lot of times you'll get these random rubs where that guy can get open up the middle. So you just have a lot of answers in terms of different things that they want to do defensively. It's going to be hard to consistently be able to defend this formation. I do like the stem down post a little bit more. I just feel like it's a little sharper cut. You can kind of steer it away from the defender like that. But in general, this play gives you a lot of answers against man and zone coverage. For the setup of the play motion cross post out of the bunch X nasty formation, we're going to have a high-low to the right or to the left. And then we're going to have this kind of unique running back route being a backside route that we're going to be able to take advantage of. So all we're going to do here is we're just going to streak the ISO receiver and we're going to stem the tight end all the way down. And the reads on the play is we're really looking at those seam streaks and the fade first. Then we're going to progress to this middle of the field high-low. And then our running back is kind of our check down read. And the back end is going to be really good against man. And we'll show that in a minute. But we're going to go through first, talk about what's the main purpose of the play. And that is really any kind of cover 2. You're going to be able to do a good job if you ever notice that they're cover 2ing or cover 3 clouding the left side. This is going to give you a really, really good answer against that adjustment. So as you see that little cheat motion play, it's going to be really good against that. And then the other element of this play here is, let's say that they use like an outside third on this. And even if they use the mid read or a deep middle third, however they want to get to it, I just want to highlight like the outside third and what happens. What happens with the outside third is he will get pulled by this seam streak because the seam streak is kind of in a nice spot. And this is why you want to run this with this on this hash. But you see how that third kind of gets pulled back. And then there's this window to be able to hit the cheat motion play. So even if you get these guys down in here, you're still going to be in a pretty good spot to be able to hit this against this. This is a really popular, long yardage coverage shell, and you're going to be in a pretty good position against it. You'll see here that this cheat motion, once he clears the cloud, the outside third's not playing him, right? You're able to hit that in that pocket, and you're able to attack the defense that way. So it's a great little feature of this play. The other thing about this is if they are cover 3 clouding you, so it looked like this, right? Number one, there's no reason why they would just have a cloud because there's so many ways to attack that left flat. Normally they'll have like a hard flat there, and so it'll be open a little quicker. But not only do you have the outside guy, but you'll also typically here have this inside pass lead into that little pocket. It's a tight throw, but it is something that you want to at least look at and practice a little bit, because the more they sell out to try to get this guy over here, you want to have something that can kind of make them pay for that. So we'll just do it like this. And what you'll see here is with this post, kind of holds the third for a minute. And then there's this little window right there where you can kind of throw it. Safety doing a good job of coming over, but anyway, you also have the outside guy. So as far as the rest of the progression, let's say they run like cover 4 hard flat or something like that. While that will stop the one play touchdown aspect of this play, another really great feature of the play is that you can, if they are hard flatting, which they kind of have to, you can throw this right here before he gets to the outside quarter or outside third defender. So, let's say they're playing a cover 3 cloud like this, where they're rolling the other direction, you're going to have a lot of ability to be able to attack the coverage, because they have to respect the streak, but they also have to respect the cheat motion. And so in a cover 3 or cover 4, if they hard flat, you see that hard flat dive down to the drag, and then there's this nice window to hit this route consistently. Now, if they do not hard flat, which is possible, some people will play this and they will not hard flat out of a cover 4, cover 3. If they don't, then what you want to look at here is this just little short crosser. It's really good. And if they don't come off of that wheel, you want to get to that short crosser quickly. It's a really good route against both man and zone coverage. It's going to be difficult for them to play both man and zone coverage against this. And then, if they, use that, then you have this post that gets right in a nice pocket to be able to throw that against zone. So that is how good this play is against just zone coverage. And then if it's man coverage, you also have a lot of really, really good features of the play. So number one, you could pass lead this seam streak if you wanted to with the small pass lead. You could also here, you see that post just fry the man coverage defender. Post normally does a really good job of getting separation against man coverage. And then let's say it's like press man, anything like this, really, aggressive type man coverage or more traditional man coverage, where they're going to be doing, cover one robber or 2 men under, either one. You see how this slot receiver, he will just fry the man coverage defender, and it's going to do a good job of being able to get separation. And then the other thing about this is if it's a traditional man coverage call, so it's not an adjusted cover 0, but it's more of a traditional man coverage call, then what you also need to see here is just how good the running back route is. The running back's good for a lot of things, but it just kind of gets in this really unique area of the field, and the kind of the way it runs, it gets a nice rat catch, and it normally just breaks down man coverage very, very well. What a lot of people will also do is, let's say you're getting heavy pressure, you might get an adjustment like this, where this guy's going to be in the middle of the field for the post, and they do something like this because they think you're running spacing switch or something. You see that there'll be nobody that is able to defend the running back when he crosses this field. So you'll see right here, right, it's just an easy read to be able to attack any kind of pressure or any kind of blown coverage. For the next setup of motion cross post, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a high-low read over the middle and a high-low read on the sideline. So what we're going to do is we're going to corner out our outside bunch receiver, stem him down one time, just like this. You're going to streak your slot receiver, you're going to post your tight end, and then you're going to return route your isolation receivers. So the reads on this play, what we're really looking for here is this high-low read to the right-hand side of the screen. What you're going to see here is this corner route will run off any of the deep zone, and then you can kind of dump it down to your running back if they're not playing any kind of hard flats, basically to stop the cross field flat like this, they have to hard flat, which is, I think one of the things that makes this a really, really good concept, because here, once they do hard flat, you can actually throw this corner route even if they have an outside quarter over there. The deep zone's not going to react super well to the route combination. And then this is also true of, like a cover 3, for example. If they don't have a curl flat to kind of help pull, then you're going to be able to hit this. And then if they do have a curl flat, that means they don't have a hard flat typically. And so you'll be able to throw that as well. But as you see, super open, especially against cover 3. So it's a great way to attack kind of that right sideline. And then if they run like a cover 2, what's really nice about this concept is this corner route will clear a cover 2. So because it's a deeper corner, you're going to see that it'll just run over the top of the cloud flat defender and gets into a nice area of the field. And then because we have the running back on kind of this cross field flat route, you're going to see here that you got a pretty good chance of being able to attack cover 2 sink as well. So if they are running any kind of match or anything, as you see, he's going to still clear him. And then you also have the dump down to the running back. So that, if they get, maybe set their zone drop super far back or whatever, the running back will still be a good answer for you against cover 2, as you see. Now, the big tip with the running back route is you don't want to freeform it. You can pass lead it, but you don't want to freeform it. Just make sure you don't freeform it. If you do freeform it, it kind of messes it up. But anyways, so that's the idea. And then let's say that you're playing somebody with a good switch stick, and they decide that they're going to switch stick out of the middle of the field. So that means they're going to switch stick over to the sideline to try to defend the corner route and the running back route. Typically what that means is you're going to look for that post backside, gets in that nice little pocket there. If the yellow zones climb with the post, then what you're going to be able to do is dump it down to your return route. So all we're doing is we're just creating a high-low on the sideline and a high-low in the middle of the field. So as you see, they kind of drift back there, and then late in the play, this little return route, so it gets into a nice little spot over the middle of the field. And then what makes this really good is, let's say that you're getting some man coverage, this is going to do a really good job at attacking man coverage. Your corner route as an answer, your cross field flat route's an answer, and then your high-low over the middle. So as you see, there's that corner route. It's a pretty good job of getting separation against any kind of man coverage that you're going to get. Most of the time, people are going to put hard flats with their man coverage. And so if they are going to put hard flats, that will, to a degree, kind of defend this running back route. Just throw this away here. Accidentally ran commit. Let me show you that again. So what a lot of people will do is they'll put these hard flats on the field to defend, different things like drags and cross field flat routes and things. But that means that your corner route here or your post is going to typically be a good answer for your man coverage. So if you're getting man coverage, one of those will normally win. And then about man, like press, like 2 men under or something, 2 man under, cover 1 robber, really any of those, your running back is going to be a really nice route for you. So what you'll see here is he just out leverages the defender. I'll try to show that again. Got randomly screamed at here. But basically, the running back route will kind of out leverage the man coverage defender. Again, don't freeform it. You want to pass lead it to the right, though. And essentially, he's just going to out leverage him to the sideline, and you're going to have a nice answer against man coverage with that route right there. And then another route that you have an answer with late in the play is, assuming you have a good time in the pocket, is your backside return route. Typically will be a good answer for you against man coverage. So in all, this play gives you a lot of different ways to attack a defense. It also has a streak on the field, so if they are running like a cover 0 or something like that, you have the opportunity to try to go up top and hit this one-on-one streak. Or you could, do the pass lead where you pass lead it outside in a small pass lead setting. I don't love to do that personally. I feel like it messes up some of your other throws, and I want to make sure that I'm 100% consistent on the main throws. That's why I don't really use that setting, but you certainly can do that. But anyway, as you see, this play just gives you a lot of answers against a lot of different defenses and spaces the field really, really well. This setup of motion cross post is going to do a really good job of creating a high-low read in the middle of the field and kind of a unique route combination that's going to do a really good job of just giving you answers against pretty much every way that people want to play defense. So what we're going to do on this is going to look a little weird, but trust me, it's a really good combo. We're going to curl our ISO receiver, stem him up one time. We're going to curl our slot receiver and stem him up one time. And then we're going to drag our tight end and we're going to return route. So essentially what we've done is we've created double curls, double drags. And then we have this running back route that is a really unique route on the play. It's going to give us a good answer against man coverage. And we'll explain, why this is such a good play. So I want to start by just talking about the purpose of the play as a whole. So the main thing that this is going to do is it's going to put a lot of strain on the middle of the field. It's going to do a really good job of attacking cover 4, cover 3, cover 2, really any zone. And the reason why it's so good against those coverages is because if they don't shade their coverage underneath, so they play default cover 4, default cover 3 with, standard hook curls, they're going to do a good job of defending the curls here, but they're not going to do a good job of defending these underneath routes. These underneath routes are just going to get wide open underneath on really both sides of the play. And you want to do the curls first so you can do the route stemming first, but essentially you got your tight end right there, you got your return route right there. Like there's just a lot of windows to throw underneath of the defense. If they were to go like cover 2 or something like that, you'll see here that your running back route can also be thrown if they're not playing a hard flat on that side of the field. And so you just have a really nice like horizontal stretch and horizontal strain on the defense. So what they have to do if they're going to be defending this in the zone is they have to shade down. And so because they have to shade down, the shade underneath is going to then open up both of these curls, and you basically are looking at who do they not use her. So as you see, or who do they not switch stick to, right? But yeah, curl right there, boom, that's going to be open. And then the curl on the left side of the field is going to be open. And so realistically, you literally have to actually defend this play properly. I feel like you just have to have a really, really good switch stick. And normally you're going to ultimately be wrong because one of the curls almost always is going to be open. Now that being said, if they were to play you in man, this play does have a lot of answers against man. So number one, if they're running this kind of man coverage where they're using like the 2 hard flats out of a cover 0 look, then one of your curls are going to be open. So you see here, one of the curls are going to be wide open. Now here's the thing. What they could do situationally, okay, and this is something you want to be aware of. Situationally, what they could do is they could shade inside underneath, and if they did that, you would see here that the curls would somewhat be covered, okay? So you'll see right here, these curls, to a degree, are pretty much covered, as you see. Like, they played it really good. The problem with that is if we just, situationally, you could tag this if you wanted to. Like, you could curl one side and you could streak the other side. So, for example, it could be like this, where we curl one side, streak the other side, and then we have the return route. Now, if they were to do that same coverage adjustment, then the streak would just be a touchdown. So you'll see here, you could just lob this up, and this is just a free touchdown if they ever did that. So maybe in a big down situation, you want to run this play, you might do something like that. That being said, that's really the only thing they can realistically do to stop it. For example, if they run like a cover 2 man, then you're going to have a lot of answers for cover 2 man because drag routes do a really good job against man coverage. And you have basically 3 of them. Your running back is effectively a drag route. Your tight end is certainly a drag route. And then your return route is kind of like a delayed drag route over the middle of the field. So even though the shaded underneath man will do a decent job of defending the curl, it's not going to do a great job of defending the drag. And they're going to have help for the tight end drag and the running back route. The running back route is so good. I think it's such a valuable piece of the play here because the running back is a great answer against man coverage. As you see here, just passing this to the right, you see that nice rat catch we get from it. I'm not free-forming that. I'm just passing that to the right. And it does a really, really good job of just attacking the defense in the spots, right? It's very difficult for them to defend this. Again, if they, you're kind of reading basically the yellow zones. If the yellow zones drop back, you're going to hit one of these underneath routes. If the yellow zones stay down, then you're going to hit one of the curls. But very high level play that gives you a lot of answers against a lot of different coverages. If you really wanted to, you could put a slant here, make it a little bit better against man coverage. You could also situationally double streak if you wanted to do the double streak. But I really like the double curls. I think the double curls give you a great answer because when they start putting those hooks on 5 and things like that, all of a sudden they just can't, they just can't defend the whole field. So super, super simple play, but ultimately it gives you a lot of answers against a lot of the ways that people want to play defense in this game. The setup of the play motion cross post out of the bunch X nasty is going to do a good job of creating a high-low read to
the left side of the screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a nice high-low read to the left side of the screen, and then we'll have kind of a backside check down off of this. Really, really good against man, zone, pretty much anything that they can do. So the setup is we're going to slot fade our isolation receiver. We're going to crosser our slot receiver, and we're going to drag our tight end, and then we're going to return route our outside bunch receiver here. So as far as this play looks, this is kind of what it looks like. The read progression on this play, what I typically am going to do is I'm going to look at that tight end drag first. Like I might peek the slot fade, but I really want to hit that tight end drag because that tight end drag, and I'll use the defender to kind of show it. It'll be kind of open in this area, but it'll also be open over here in the flat. So it does a really good job of stressing these two areas of the field. So if they are playing backed off coverage or they're not shading down, you see how that tight end drag just does a really good job of being able to attack that whole left section of the field. And so they have to shade underneath to stop it, or they have to user it to stop it. So either way, if they user it to stop it, right, it would look something like this where they take their user out of the middle of the field. So if I see them like run down with the drag, then what I want to do is get my eyes up to this crosser, and you can see how you can kind of throw it in that seam area of the field over the top of the yellow zones. And then the other little area in which you can throw that crosser, because we're putting the slot fade on the field, is you can throw it all the way across the field to the sideline. So you can throw it all the way down like that and get that nice high-low on that strain on that side over there. So super, super good play. Another little thing that I haven't talked about yet that I think is really important to mention is some people will over adjust against a formation like this. And so because there's not an outside receiver, sometimes you will get this adjustment where they put a cloud flat here, and then they put like an inside quarter, okay, or an inside third, because this will play like a seam streak, but it won't play the sideline. This is why the slot fade is such a good hot route, because the slot fade here, you see that it'll just clear that cover two, and it gets over the top of that situationally if they don't deep half. Now, why would they not deep half? They might not want to deep half because the deep half then leaves the seam streak open. So kind of a cat and mouse game there, but that's why you want to do that. And then the other thing that you have here in terms of how the play is going to work out is you have a couple different coverages they could be in. One of the popular coverages in this game is a cover three cloud. So it would be like a shaded down hook here, and then there would be a cloud flat over here to kind of help with the corner. And then they might do something like this where, you know, you kind of see how they have this kind of set up where it practically speaking, right, it's going to do a good job against the low read. And then they would, you know, probably be able situationally to switch onto this middle third to play that. And so it would leave you needing to read the backside here. Probably be the best defense for this play. But what you're able to do here is you're able to, because of this combo, hit this running back as a late check down over the middle or on the sideline, turn up field for a couple of yards. You can hit that. Or the other thing that you could do, and again, this is provided that they have a really, really good switch set, because normally the crosser will just be wide open. You know, but the other thing that you would be able to hit here is this return route late in the play, because the crosser will pull the hooks to the middle. This will pull the flats out, and you'll see this little window right about there that I can hit that return route in that soft spot. I'll show that one more time just because he dropped it. It is a little bit more open than it actually looks. So let me just put this guy as the flat defender. But it's essentially this little window right in the middle of the yellow zones that you can hit that are going to do a really good job late in the play. So as you see kind of right there, see that little window right there? And you can hit that, get upfield, and get some easy yardage. So what I love for this play call for is whatever, I want to attack the left sideline of the field. Now, if they were to run like a cover two over here to the left side, so let's say they hit you with like a cover three cloud like this, for example, then you would still be in a pretty good spot, okay? And what you would really want to look to do here is you would really want to look to hit your tight end, because that cloud flat is going to be the high read, and so he's going to go to that crosser, and then you're going to have this drag underneath of it. So you see kind of how this works. Check down to that drag. You can turn up field for, you know, about 10 to 12 yards. And then, you know, let's say they got really good with their adjustments and they did something like this where we have a shaded down hook curl to play the drag a little bit. And then we also have a cloud flat to help with the crosser. If you wait on the crosser should clear over the top of that, provided that you have enough time in the pocket here. So you'll see that crosser. See how it gets super deep and it gets over the top of that defender, and you can throw it kind of on that sideline in that little window right there. This setup of the play motion cross post is going to basically use it as if it was a smash return type of concept. But because we have that running back cross route, it's going to make it a little bit better against man coverage. So what I like to do with this play, I want to first show it against man coverage here real quick, is what you're going to do from a combo perspective is you're going to streak your slot receiver, drag your tight end, return route, your outside bunch receiver. And I'm going to give you the option. If it's man-to-man, this crosser is a little bit better than a deep in route against man-to-man if you know that it's man-to-man. That being said, a lot of times you don't know if it's man or zone. So what I like to do is put him on an in route, and I like to stem this up 3 times. So super deep in route over the middle of the field. And what you're going to see is against man coverage, your tight end and your running back are going to destroy the man coverage underneath. It's going to do a really good job against 2 men under, cover on robber, any of that, because basically you're just having to read the user. Where the user goes, you throw the opposite direction. So you'll see here, like in this situation, let's say the user went to the tight end, then I would then want to look to the running back here. So again, it looks something like this. And you'll see this running back just does such a good job, right? As long as he doesn't get bumped here, he got crazy bumped. He's still going to do a good job. You see break 1 tackle. And this is why, you want to be using the running back when you're trying to attack man coverage. Like the running back is so good against man coverage in this game. And then let me show you real quick the route if it doesn't get bumped. So you'll see here, this running back route, really good job to the sideline, out leverages the defender, and you're able to hit it that way. Now, just for sake of illustration here, against these man coverages, I just wanted to highlight the crosser just in case you ever want to use it, because it is a good route. I do like the in route a little bit better just because it's better against zone. But if you're getting someone that's playing exclusively man, I'd keep the crosser. So anyway, what you'll see here is the crosser just does a really good job of getting that inside leverage. And you see how you can just kind of throw it to the inside. And a lot of times it's just going to be, a really easy way to attack man coverage there. So you have that. And then let's say it's like off man coverage. The reason you might want this in a situation where it's off man coverage is because that typically means they'll have those 2 hard flats, and those 2 hard flats will make it harder to throw these other these 2 underneath routes here, because the hard flat will cover that tight end where he gets open, and then the other one will open there. But this crosser normally does a really good job of being able to get that inside position. Now you can also pretty much get very good inside position as well if you use the deep in route. So you can really use whatever route you want in that position. But the in route seems to be the best overall combination of a man beater and a zone beater. As you see, gets that nice inside leverage, and he gets that inside position, and he's able to attack the defense that way. And then, let's say, you're going to get that hard flat deal. Then you're going to see here again, this off coverage, this in route, when he cuts to the inside, pass lead inside, boom, easy read, and it's going to win against man. So what this does is it forces them to have to use their certain things. So one of the things, if we were to literally give this standard defensive adjustment, pretty popular defense, right? Maybe they do something like this, and then they use her in the middle of the field. What they would basically be able to do here is put there a lot of user potential, a lot of user emphasis on the in route, because they have those 2 hard flats. That's probably what they would be thinking. And that's where you need to be able to hit this return route late in the play, right when he crosses here. You just need to hit that right there. If he is covered tightly, as long as the defender's not inside of him, you're not going to throw an interception on the play. But a lot of times you can actually possession catch that. Now, as far as how this play works against zone coverage, we're stretching and attacking the entire underneath of the play. So we have a lot of answers. If they run like a cover, if they're not running hard flats, right, one of these 2 underneath routes going to get open really easily if they're not running hard flats or shaded down hooks. So if their yellows are on default, even if their hooks are on 10, even if their flats are on 10, they have to have these low hard flats. So if they don't have that, you can just check it down here and just take your easy 5-10 yards to make them have to defend you. And then the same thing with the running back route. You're going to see here that the running back route is going to do a really good job. Just passing him up there, try to get him in that little window, and then you could be in a good position. So what those underneath routes do is they force them to have to shade their defense underneath. And so when they shade underneath, now your main throw is going to be this in route over the top. And what's also really important is that you do have this seam streak. So the seam streak, as far as like use case for the seam streak, it is really good against like a cover 3 cloud situation if they have shaded down yellow zones. So if they have shaded down yellow zones, this streak can get open against cover 3 cloud to the bunch side. So you'll see here, because you got that other streak to kind of pull that middle third. And there's this little window where we can throw this in the middle. It's kind of hard to show because it's such a tight throw, but it's actually a really, really good throw. And again, this is why you want to stem this in route up super deep, because by getting the depth on it, then you're going to get this kind of like splitting of the safeties in that little spot right there. So just something to work on a little bit. You might have to practice the throw a little bit more, but in general, this is, one of my favorite. I mean, you could call this play all game. This play just has answers against every coverage in the game. Don't sleep on the seam streak. It really makes them pay for shading those yellows down. And then also the seam streak is really there as well for switch stick. If they try to switch stick you, then you have the seam streak to fall back on. The other thing you can do is late in this play, when the return route comes over the middle field, you can playmaker him, which it might be a little bit difficult to show that. But let me just drop these guys out. Just want to show you what's possible here. So when the return route breaks over the middle of the field late in the play, you can playmaker it up, and then your seam streak will clear out. Now you have your in route and you have your playmaker route. So just a high level play, be able to break down a lot of different coverages, and it just gives you a lot of different answers against what they can do defensively. Motion HB choice is a big hitting play. It's a play that you want to have in your arsenal. It's going to give you some really good answers against a lot of different defenses in this game. And I want to first start out with cover 3. So if you're ever getting any kind of cover 3 to this left-hand side, this is a play that you want to have in your arsenal. Typically, the way you'll see a cover 3 play here is you'll get a roll. So you'll get like a half over here, and they'll actually play a cover 2 on this side. But basically, how do you attack this, and how do we actually can set it up? So what we're going to do is we're going to stem down the slot receiver, stem him down 1. We're going to streak the outside bunch receiver, and then on the tight end, we're going to put him on a post and stem him down 1. So you see it looks like this. And then on the back end of this play, we're going to return route and table. So we have kind of our check down read, which is going to be that return route and that table route. And then we have our main area here, which is this 3-level attack on the seams. What we're really looking for against cover 3 is we're looking for this R1 receiver and this seam streaks. What you'll see is that R1 receiver just will run past that third, and you can hit that guy in a nice window. Now, same thing here. Let me just show you a cover 2 here. Another little piece of this play is the seam to the outside receiver, the outside bunch receiver here. You'll see that if it's cover 3 cloud, a lot of times you can throw this in that little area as well. So it kind of depends a little bit on how they actually ultimately are going to switch stick this, to be honest. But there is a nice window to hit this seam streak to the slot receiver. The slot receiver is really the main receiver that you're trying to hit here. When these yellows are so low, there's this little seam right in that little pocket where you can kind of split them. And that's what we're really trying to accomplish with this play. Now, if they don't shade underneath, which we do need to cover that. So let's say they just play you in a base cover 3, cover 4. I would get to your high-low read here, over here on the left side, because that left side hook curl is going to really carry the tight end. So you can easily just pop that return route in underneath for a nice little check down. And then if you were to truly wait on this, you'll see that he still will split them. As you see right there, that's a cover 4. He's able to split it. If they don't switch stick it properly, you could be sitting really pretty with a nice big play against that coverage. So definitely a nice little play. I don't love this concept. I think it's a hard concept to run a ton of, but some people love this play. So just keep that in mind of like, I would use this situationally. It wouldn't be an every down play call for me, because while this is a really good play, if somebody knows that it's coming, it's a relatively straightforward switch stick. So anyway, but as you see how he just kind of pops in between, and that's a cover 4. And when you get those safeties down in the box like that, which you get a lot of this game, you could have a touchdown just that easy. Another way that this kind of works is cover 2. So let's say I get a cover 2. Now, cover 2 is going to defend this a little interestingly, but I want you to watch the mid read. You're going to see here that the mid read will climb, and then he'll actually go to the outside bunch receiver on the seam streak. So it depends on, like I said, it depends a lot on how they ultimately switch stick it and how they actually user, because that's really the main thing is you're looking at the user. A lot of times they'll take the post, but essentially here what you'll see is that mid read falls off late. This could be a throw. I don't know why the mid read actually stayed on him that time, but the tight end can also be a throw. So again, the main thing is it's really good against cover 3 and cover 4. If they run cover 2 though, the mid read does a decent job of kind of midpointing, but you do have some other stuff here. Let me see if I can actually hit this. There, see how he's running? See there? See how late in the play on a cover 2, this thing can just fry it. And again, if they switch stick that, they switch stick that, but the mid read stock is going to go to that outside guy. It's not going to go to the seam streak. Let me show that one more time on cover 2, just to give you a little bit of a sample size of what it would look like. And again, if they're using that, you just get to your check down over the middle, okay? But this little seam streak right here, as you see how the game kind of bumps him sometimes. Very important, because then we just got to get to our check down, right? It's just, I cannot stress enough, this is a big hitting play, but if you don't get to your check down, you can take a lot of sacks on this play, okay? So same thing here again. Here's cover 2, and you see here, right? Okay, they bump. Let me just get to my check down. Let me just get to my check down underneath and take what the defense gives me. Now, if they don't have a mid read and they're playing you in a roll coverage, so it would look something like this, right? Where we have a cover 3 to the right side and a cover 2 to the left side. Now I like our chances a little bit better to be able to hit this seam, because the tight end will actually pull the deep half to the left side. So you see here that tight end kind of pull him, and then you can throw this right in there. And then also you could also throw the tight end. So overall, this play gives you some really cool answers against different defenses, but I will say it's one of those plays where you can kind of fall in love with it. And I think it's better as kind of a shot play or a mix-in play as opposed to being like a number 1 play. But as you see there's your tight end post. If they don't use her that's going to be there. And then if they do use her, the tight end post, guess what you need to do? You need to get down to your check down, right? If you don't get what you're looking for, get to your check down. But I love what it does. I love the potential of how it can just really pop the user if the user's staying too low. The user can't afford to stay super low on this play. If the user stays super low on this play, you're going to have a really, really nice route to your slot receiver that just kind of gets in this little unique area of the field and very difficult to defend. So as far as man coverage, I didn't talk a ton about how this play attacks man. It's not ideal against man. I will say that. The main thing you have against man is your tight end post, your return route. Those are the 2 main things that you're going to be able to hit here against man coverage. So I would just focus in on those 2 routes right there. Another variation of the play, very slight variation, but it is a good one, would be to do something like this, where we take the running back and put him on a corner route, or you can still keep him on a table route. But the corner route will give you a little bit more of an answer against man, but we'll just put him on a table. And then instead of a return, you can do a drag route. So now your drag route will give you a pretty good answer against man coverage. And then obviously, if everything breaks down, then you can feel free to scramble up the middle of the field. If you wanted one more variation that I think is pretty good out of this play, very underrated setup out of this play in my opinion, it would be something like this, where we use a running back Texas, because the Texas route will kill man coverage. So kind of a slight variation on the setup, but it's really good specifically at attacking man coverage if you do it that way. For this setup of the play motion corner under, what we're going to be doing is really just prioritizing the short corner. It's a great way to be able to attack both man and zone coverage. What I like to do with the play overall here is I'm just going to swing route my running back, drag my tight end, curl my outside bunch receiver, and stem that curl up 1, and then I will post my slot receiver. So this is what the play looks like. As far as the read progression on this play, what we're really trying to work here is really just the high-low on the left side, not too crazy complex. And, basically just work this high-low, because generally speaking, they're going to have to hard flat on that left side. So when they start to hard flat consistently, this short corner is going to do a really good job against a hard flat. As you see, just gets really nice separation. The outside quarter really will never play it. And so they basically have to have a cloud flat. So you're just kind of playing this high-low game with them on the isolation side. This is also why I like to swing the running back, because by swinging the running back, he's going to pull down the flat defender. So you see the flat defender super low, and then you get to throw this in behind it. Now, let's say you're playing somebody and they don't hard flat. So you leave the basic curl flat there and they guess right, and that curl flat will do a good job of defending this. So you'll see here, if I try to throw this on a curl flat, right, he's going to do a really good job of defending that corner route. And that would be the same for a cloud flat or, you know, any of that stuff. So what I can do though, and this is the piece of the combo, the running back is still going to pull the flat outside. So he's going to get more horizontal. And so because of that, the tight end will get more open underneath in this little throwing window. So you'll see right here, there's this little throwing window right here where I can cut up and get an easy, you know, 10 to 15 yards if I break a tackle with that tight end in that window. So it's a super, super valuable, I think, concept. Another major use case for this is against man coverage. So the main thing that you want to be ready for in terms of an adjusted man coverage is they would do something like this, where they man this guy up and they hard flat this guy because you run a lot of the spacing switch play. They have to have a hard flat on the left side to stop spacing switch. It's why it's such a powerful play. So, you know, maybe they do adjusted defense, but it looks something like this, right? When they do that adjustment, they try to play that little game on that ISO receiver. The short corner is going to do a really good job of getting separation on this. So what you'll see here is your short corner, right? He just gets that horizontal bend on the corner route, and he will normally do a really good job of getting separation. We'll see if we can actually show that a little bit better here. But you also will have the tight end drag because the running back will pull the hard flat out. And so it'll open up a space to throw the tight end drag as well. But you see here, he gets that nice bend on the route, and it's a more horizontal corner, so you're going to be in a better spot. So anyway, I love that route, and I love that route concept because it really puts them in a tough spot. Like if they run a basic cover two, yes, the basic cover two will do a really good job of defending the corner, but our high-low here, what you're going to see is you have that nice check down right there, and you just get upfield for easy yardage. So it really puts them in a tough spot to be able to fully defend the play. Now, the element of the shaded down yellow. So if they shade down their hooks, so they put their hooks on 5, and then they do something like this is actually a popular defense, kind of a cover 3 like this, but they have the hooks on 5. This is where the post and curl come in. So it's basically a fail-safe for any kind of shading that they could do with their zone. So what you're going to see here is the drag gets defended by the underneath yellows, but look at that post get open in this little pocket. And that what I love about that outside corner is it pulls deep halves and outside thirds out of the way. And so there's this little hole shot that you can hit, especially against any kind of covered shaded down yellows, because the yellows will not play the post. And you'll see right here again, watch how this short corner just pulls the deep half out. And there's this little window right in here to hit it. So it makes it so that they have to defend that with their user. And so what they'll typically do is if they're going to defend that with their user, that means practically they're going to fully commit to this route. And so this is why the stemmed up curl is so important, because now they can't really defend everything, because now your stemmed up curl, right? The yellow stays low, curls deeper, and you're able to hit it in that little window right there. So very valuable route on this play. As far as like just straightforward man coverage, the main answer is this corner route and drag route. Your post can be an answer as well. Your curl can be an answer as well. Like this is not a bad play at all against man, but see the bend you get on that corner route just does a really nice job of just doing a good job of beating the man coverage. And then you also have your tight end drag and you have your post. So you just have a lot of answers on this play for however they want to defend you. Here you see, look at all the space we get with that drag. Turn up field for, again, 10 to 15 yards. If you're gashed them consistently for that, you know, they're gonna have to do something about that. The other thing that I like about this play is, let's say they, you know, run like a cover 0 and they adjust their man. A lot of times this post can just fry man coverage in a one-on-one scenario. So you have that capability as well in this play. And then let's say that they user the post. So if they user the post, that'd be probably the smartest thing they could do defensively. They user the post, then you can throw the curl route, in a little soft spot against that man coverage. So you see here, these curls are so good this year, just possession catch them. They're going to have to really overcommit to try to stop it. And it's just a great way to get a high-low on the left side, high-low in the middle field, and then a backside check down that kind of counters some of the other things you do in this offense. Motion Y corner under out of the bunch X Nasty has a really, really good tight end corner route that is kind of unique to this play. You can't hot route this. You see here that the hot routed tight end corner route is a short corner, but this is a deeper corner. And so we're going to be able to kind of build around this. This also is going to be able to be off of the same motion of our motion cross post play. So it's going to look like we're running that play, but then we're going to be running this play. So what I like to do from a setup perspective is stem the tight end all the way down, slot fade the slot receiver, drag the isolation receiver, and table or swing route the back. And what we're basically doing here is we are going to try to roll out to the right side. So this is pretty much a pretty straightforward rollout play. And what I'm looking for is to hit this tight end corner across or hit the drag. So essentially it's this high or low read. I'm trying to get out of the pocket and I'm trying to hit that tight end corner right on the sideline right there, just like that. It's a hard switch stick because you have that slot fade. They can't really switch stick anything, honestly. And then the other thing that's nice about this play is let's say that they do switch stick to the curl flat and they try to go play the tight end. That's going to take the flat defender out. And so what you're able to do here is if you're able to get out of the pocket, you can just playmaker this guy up and then just scramble with your quarterback. So it's kind of like it's essentially just a nice rollout play that's going to do a really good job when they start to do stuff like that. Let me give you a better example here of that. So remember that when you're rolling, you still have to playmaker with left trigger. So I'm going to sit in the pocket for just a second, right? And then let my double team hit, roll out, playmaker this guy upfield. As you see, he becomes a blocker for me. And it's just an easy way to kind of take advantage of a switch stick if they switch stick to the corner, if they switch stick to the flat defender, okay? Now, what about like a cover two? So if you get, what I like about the tight end corner and the slot fade is that it's going to run over the top of everything. So you're going to get open against cover two. You're going to get open against cover three. You're going to get open against cover four. So, and you don't have to roll out. If you don't want to roll out, you don't have to. But it's kind of a natural way to run the play is to roll out because everything's kind of flooding that direction, okay? Now, if they're shading down, let's say they're shading down in a cover four. Actually, I accidentally audibled here. So cover four, hard flat, one of the best parts of the play. And like I said, you could run the running back on a swing or a table. But one of the best little aspects of this play is any kind of cover four or cover three hard flat to the left side. This drag pulls the hook in, the running back pulls the flat out, and there's this little pocket right here. So it's a great little thing. If they're really putting a lot of energy into that right sideline with their switch stick, then you can easily work backside to that other route. And then the other aspect of this play is, let's say, maybe they're doing a good job containing or whatever, you can't get out of the pocket. You can always just check down to this receiver if those yellow zones are not drifted back. Now, I love this play against man coverage. And part of the reason is because if they are in a man coverage look, but they are actually running zone, the man coverage player will always motion across. So you'll see here that we get this motion action, and then we're going to get this drag, and we're going to get this corner route. So as you see, you get the misalignment. Now you get a clear out, and then look at that tight end corner, just cook man coverage on that outside, and then you also have that drag. So you kind of have to, there's just no way to really defend everything that we can do out of man coverage here. And then I actually love this. So like, let's say they're doing some adjustments and they adjust their man coverage like so, situationally, and then you go to this play. So let's say they've done that, they've set their defense up like this, but then you go to something like this. What happens is that player motions with him. So he always will follow him. There's nothing they can do other than not call man to do this. So you see, he runs across, and now that outside third is completely misaligned, and it makes the tight end corner a lot easier to hit. So this is purely a, kind of change up rollout type play, but it's very, very good at being able to attack blitzes. Like let's say you're getting a blitz off this left side like this. You can also feel free to leave the back on what he's on. But, let's say you're getting a pressure like this, there's just not enough resources on the right side to defend everything. So, you know, what you're able to do here, you have your drag, you have your stem down corner, you roll, you double team this guy right here, and then basically snap of the ball, you get pressured. We're going to roll out of the pocket, and we're looking for that corner route, you know, right there over the top. Obviously, got to make the throw, but you see the idea. The thought process is if they're going to blitz us off the left side, it's a great way to attack it because you're just going to roll away from the pressure. And you just have a lot of answers, whether it be man or zone. Also really good against match coverage. Match coverage is going to struggle to defend this as well, just because of the slot fade and the tight end corner. It's really hard to defend both of those. And then late in the play, everything breaks down. We have our backside check down to be able to get open. The play motion clear halfback seam out of the bunch X nasty has a really good running back streak route. That's the main reason why you would want to call this play. Is really for this running back streak route and really for this adjustment right here. A lot of people like to mix this in. They would do something like this where they're going to basically not man the running back up, and they're going to have this flat for any kind of flat, and they're going to do like a hook here, but they're really not trying to man the running back up because the running back can just beat man coverage really well in this formation. So they're kind of like not really guarding the running back, but they're putting zones where they think the running back's going to go. It was a great way to kind of change up the pace. So what we're going to do as far as the setup on this play is we are just going to streak the slot receiver, slot fade the outside bunch receiver, and drag the solo receiver. So we have a really clean clear out here to the right side where we're going to be able to, you know, go right with the play. But the other element of this play here is that we're going to be able to, if they're kind of falling asleep on the running back, see how fast he runs that running back streak. He can just quickly get over the top if they're not manning him up. Basically, he gets into a really nice area of the field when they're not manning him up, and it's just a really, really hard play to guard. Now, let's say you're playing more of a standard zone coverage, then this play becomes a lot more about the flood. The running back still can kind of get into a nice spot, but really the main read is this corner route right here. This corner route is going to get wide open against almost every coverage in the game. And if you want to, you can stem him up once to make him run a little deeper for a cover two. For example, as you see here, see how that corner can kind of get over the top of a cover two. Now, the other thing that I like about this play in terms of how it can attack cover two is the mid read will always go to the slot receiver. So because of that, you'll see right here that the running back is actually a real threat against cover two. As you see, you can kind of throw him behind the hooks, and it's just a great way to attack kind of cover two situationally late in a play like that. Now, let's say you're getting like a roll coverage like this. This is also pretty decent. So if they're doing like a cover three cloud type of deal, you know, you could be in a good spot here. The reason being is because this middle third has to go get over there to defend the slot receiver. If they don't defend the slot receiver, it's going to be a touchdown up the seam there, or at least a big hitting play. So as you see, that middle third really has to run to the right side. So what a lot of people will do is they'll actually switch stick onto the player, and they'll kind of like manually run him over this direction to get him there in time. So if they are doing something like that, this running back seam just does a really good job of kind of replacing that zone. And so you see how he just kind of slips the coverage, and you can kind of throw it in this really unique little area to be able to attack, you know, that area of the field in a really nice way. It's also really good. Let's say we're getting a cover three cloud. So we're getting something like this. Those hooks, if they're down low like that, and the drag will really pull, that outside third will really snap to the outside. And as you see, just see how where that running back gets to. It's just kind of an awkward area of the field for them to defend. They're not really used to defending that area, and they have to switch stick to the right side. If they don't switch stick to the right side, I promise you, you will have something open backside here to the right. Like this right side combination literally breaks down every coverage in the game. It's going to be very hard for them to play defense on that right side of the field. And then if they get like a man coverage look, it's really going to be your corner or your drag route. This is not something you should be calling a ton against man coverage, although your seam streak could be a touchdown as well. But really the tight end route is kind of the money route against man. Do that one more time here. So again, against man coverage here, got your drag, and then you really got your tight end kind of check, tight end route as well. The main thing as well is if they blitz you, a lot of times they don't like to cover the running back in a blitz situation, so you could have that read. And then also you've got your drag route right there. So in general, this play just gives you a lot of options to be able to attack in kind of a unique way. It's not a play that I would run a lot, but called once or twice a game, this play can really do some good stuff for you. It's a really unique route to the running back that runs super fast. So if you ever start to notice that they're constantly, playing the shade down yellows or whatever, this becomes a really valuable play because you can throw him right there, aggressive catch it before he gets to the deep zone. And it makes it so that they kind of have to use the running back. And then you have this whole flood concept on the strong side of the formation. I want to talk about the run game for the Bunch X Nasty here. And there's a lot of things that you can do. But ultimately, I think it comes down to a couple of key plays that really make this what it is. So the first one is this motion RPO zone alert. It's my favorite run in the formation. I'm going to talk about some of the other ones as well. Base is really good. The motion outside zone is okay. And then the inside zone. Those are really the main runs. I'll throw the counter in here just to show it. And then we'll talk about, how I like to actually run the ball out of this. So what we're going to do is, like I said, I'm going to come out in this motion RPO zone alert if I can find the play. There it is. And we're just going to walk through these runs. So again, we're going to have our bunch to the wide side here. But really, if you're running the ball, if you didn't know, if you have your running back on the same side as your quarterback's throwing hand, it will actually make the runs significantly better. So you'll see here, for example, if I run like inside zone, you're going to see a pretty slow handoff take place. It's still a good run, but the handoff is very slow. However, if I was to flip this play and run it like this, where the running back is on the same side as the quarterback's throwing hand, in this case, it's the right, you see you get a faster handoff animation to be able to run this play. So just for the sake of illustration, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to flip my formation, and then I'm going to put the ball in the right hash. Hash marks are not as important when running the ball. You can run the ball in really either hash. You might even get better blocking if you run with your bunch to the short side. But anyway, motion RPO zone alert. So how I like to run this play, there's a lot of different ways to run it, but I think a simple way is a streak on the right side and a flat on the left side, and then you have this motion flat right here, which is a really good route. So this motion flat is really good because it's going to do a really good job of attacking, any kind of like man coverage. It'll attack different types of zones. I think in general, just having the streak here really makes it, I think, really good. But you see, just throw that out there quick. A lot of times, that's my main read on the play. If they're going to cover that, then they're going to cover that. But if they're not going to cover that, I'm going to throw it. Now, what about like a cover 3 situation? That's why I like to put this. If they shade down and they have a hard flat, you can always look at this little seam streak as well as a nice little potential option. But a lot of times what happens in this formation is they leave this swing route wide open. Even if it's a hard flat, if that defender's in the run fit, they will leave this thing open, and it is an absolute money route. It's very difficult for them to guard, and that's why I like to run it. Now, the other thing that you can do here is you could run a flat route on this left side guy. And a lot of times you see just out leverage them quick to the flat, and it just does a good job. So I could just put, a quick flat right here to this left side. You could really do whatever you want with the slot. I really like to streak. I love streaks against this, just in case they ever fallen asleep on the run fits. And then I have this route right here to be able to go to. This is by far and away my favorite thing, because if I guess wrong, and let's say that it's not a favorable look to pass the ball, I can literally just hand the ball off. Let the game hand the ball off for you. It's going to do a really good job. The other runs you have here, this motion outside zone, the motion outside zone, it's okay. It's kind of a giveaway because your tight end's going in motion, and I don't love that. But the outside zone run this year is a really good shotgun run. It's a great way. It's just a really good run, as you saw right there. Like, it's a good run, and it's going to give you consistent yardage. So I love that run. Halfback base, I don't know how you don't like this run. What I normally do is I untarget the backside D end, and then you're just going to see really hard to shoot run. It's a very good run. It's very difficult to stop this run consistently. This is one of those runs that I think is really helpful to add into your repertoire. If you untarget the D tackle, as you see, he can come in. But what I normally do here is I just untarget the backside D end or outside linebacker just like this. and just get a true power play where we're just trying to make one cut, get upfield quick. Inside zone's really good out of this. The inside zone, pretty much same thing. I just untarget the backside DM, let him come in free, but I'm mainly just trying to get downfield and just get a couple yards here. This inside zone is a very good inside zone, though. It is a very, very good inside zone, and it's very difficult for them to stop it. So you need to be mixing in the run game with this offense. It's very, very important. And then the counter. What I'll do with the counter, it's a very slow developing run play, but it can sometimes break. It depends a little bit on what they're doing defensively. They can sometimes give you a really good look for a counter, and the counter is almost like a 0-1 trap type of play where you get that kind of trap blocking within it. But in general, these are how I kind of run the plays out of this formation. I think all in all, this is one of the best formations, not just because the passing is so good, but it actually boasts some of the best runs I've seen in the game this year. And in a lot of ways, it just gives you a lot of answers. I cannot stress to you enough how many more times you should be calling this motion RPO zone alert. It is a ridiculously good play, and it is grossly underutilized. It is such a good play because it just destroys zone. If they do run man, a lot of times you can even get the slant wide open. So anyways, that is my run game for Bunch X Nasty. Spacing switch is my favorite play in the red zone because everybody's going to run cover 2 hard flat to stop it. And we want to actually use spacing switch so that we have the threat of the running back if they don't run cover 2, okay? So the route that we want to hit on the play is the return route. We're going to return route this ISO receiver. We're going to crosser the tight end, and then you can kind of do a couple different options with this slot receiver, but I think what makes the most sense is just to zig route him. So we're going to put a zig right here. And effectively what we're looking for is we're looking for this return route right here before the yellow zone actually plays him. And you have to have your bunch to the wide side to be able to do this. Let me just show you a little closer here. So like, let's say I'm in that 2-point conversion type of area. A lot of times in this 2-point conversion area, you might not get the same spacing that you will get. So we'll try it here, but sometimes the hooks play a little better. So you see here, see how the hooks play a little bit there? Then you would throw it more inside. But just something you need to be aware of is that if you're in the middle of the field, that window is not going to be as open as it is if you're on this like hash mark, okay? So anyway, back to the play itself, right? If they're running any kind of cover 2, hard flat type of coverage, then your crosser also will get open in the back of the end zone. So it depends a little bit on the type of cover 2, whether they're putting the safeties in curl flats or not. But if those yellow zones play low, then your crosser here will kind of run back of the end zone like that, and it gets in that nice area of the field. As far as the right-hand side, a shaded down cover 2 will normally do a really good job here. Just see, yeah, it does a really good job. So we want to just progress to that crosser. That crosser just kills the cover 2 hard flat. Now, the other element of this play is what if they put 2 purples here, which is something they could do. So if they put 2 purples there, then what you're normally going to see is, again, that tight end just gets open a little bit earlier in the play. Now, you might be saying, okay, well, what if I do the 2 safety purples like this with the hard flats, and then I take this mid-read defender and I actually user the crosser myself and take the crosser completely away. That is probably the best chance that they're going to have at being able to stop this play. However, once they do that, then you'll see that late there's that little window. I forgot to, I accidentally didn't put him on a proper zig route here, but let me show you. So like if I have this is also sending 3, so not always are they going to do that. But you'll see here, the zig kind of pulls that other yellow out, and then there's this little window late where I can throw that return route over the middle of the field. Now, the other reason why I like this is there I got cover 2, but I'm not going to shade underneath. You always want to look at the spacing switch route. It's such a good flat route. So you see here, if they're falling asleep, we can throw that and be able to attack anything that's not a hard flat. So just gives us a nice little opportunity here, right? Out leverage them to the flat, try to break a tackle, get upfield, get a couple quick yards. It's just a really, really good little red zone route to have. And then you can also do other little things. Like, for example, if we want to do something like this, this is totally fine as well. Okay. And oftentimes here, you see the crosser just gets in a nice spot. So that crosser, whether it's a tight end crosser or a regular crosser, you're just going to have a lot of opportunity to hit it. I mean, it's just a really, really good route on the play. And then if they're not in a cover 2, let's say they're in a cover 3 or cover 4, almost impossible for them to defend this play if they're not in a cover 2, okay? Because the running back route is just going to get open every single time. There you see, and then see how we can just throw this through the windows. If they don't use the crosser, then we throw the crosser. If they do use the crosser, that return route is normally open in multiple windows on the play. And then what if they do like a man coverage, shaded down man coverage look? It's gonna basically be the same thing. So what we're really looking for here is we can look at a running back, but really the route that we're gonna ultimately hit probably gonna be the return route or the tight end crosser over the middle of the field. But this play just does a great job of spacing out. Again, if you want to do something like this where you put the tight end on the route, the tight end can sometimes be a little better against man. And then there's your return route late, just getting open over the middle. So just does a great job of spacing the field horizontally, allowing us different windows over throwing lanes to be able to attack down in the short yardage area of the field.